Sad news for my Deja Kelly fans out there. She has been waived.
And Deja Kelly gets waived by the Las Vegas Aces.
In a startling roster update issued on May 12, 2025, the Las Vegas Aces announced that guard Deja Kelly, fresh off a dazzling training camp performance, had been waived from the team's preseason roster. The terse statement, simply reading, waived, Deja Kelly, offered no explanation for the decision, leaving fans and analysts alike scrambling for answers. Kelly, an undrafted rookie standout, had delivered a game-winning shot in the first exhibition contest and flashed an all-around skill set rarely seen from a player without a draft pedigree.
All right, so here it is, ladies and gentlemen, man. Roster update. The Aces have waived Deja Kelly.
Now, I quickly do want to touch on the Deja Kelly being waived from the Aces situation.
The announcement cut through the usual off-season chatter like a thunderclap, prompting a tidal wave of social media reaction that ranged from disbelief to outrage. Headlines blared with phrases such as Aces Shock Nation and Breakout star cut without warning, underscoring the magnitude of the move. Observers noted that the timing of the waiver, mere days after Kelly's last electrifying outing, suggested internal strategic considerations that trumped on-court production. Questions arose about salary cap management, roster spot limitations, and the potential influence of veteran contract protections that make certain players untouchable.
And I had my consistency worries about her, but she looked phenomenal. I can't lie, man. She looked phenomenal in these last two games.
From the halls of practice facility to the online basketball forums, the sense of bewilderment was palpable. Many wondered whether the decision stemmed from deeper evaluations of Kelly's long-term fit alongside all-star teammates, while others speculated about off-court factors such as intangible qualities or practice habits assessments. Still more voices floated rumors of front office maneuvering, positioning this transaction as a calculated gamble by the league's reigning champions. But regardless of the underlying rationale, the abrupt nature of Kelly's release and the absence of any forewarning set the stage for one of the most talked about preseason stories in recent WNBA history. As the dust began to settle, a broader narrative surfaced: the precarious reality faced by fringe players in a league with razor-thin roster limits, where a single decision can redefine a promising career overnight.
I said this when it happened. It's scary that she goes out in preseason and wins a game by herself and is going to immediately be cut.
This is a player that wasn't drafted on top of that. So coming in and performing the way she did, looked like she was WNBA ready.
Deja Kelly's journey to the brink of WNBA stardom offers a compelling portrait of perseverance and talent overcoming the odds. A native of Plano, Texas, Kelly first gained national attention as a dynamic guard at Garland High School, where she amassed hundreds of three-pointers and led her team to state tournament appearances. Her collegiate career took off at the University of North Carolina, where she combined scoring prowess with playmaking vision, earning all-conference honors and propelling the Tar Heels to deep NCAA tournament runs. Opting to transfer for her final season, Kelly made the move westward to the University of Oregon, where she immediately immersed herself in a program known for developing professional talent. There, she adjusted seamlessly to a faster, more athletic style of play, showcasing improved defensive tenacity and an ability to orchestrate an up-tempo offense. Despite averaging over 17 points per game and guiding Oregon to its first Pac-12 championship in nearly a decade, Kelly went undrafted in the April 2025 WNBA draft, an outcome that stunned many in scouting circles.
The archetype of Deja Kelly there's a lot of, you have to be really good to be in that archetype, or historically be really good, to have the freedom to kind of do what you want.
She nevertheless earned an invitation to the Aces rookie orientation camp, where her competitive fire and humility stood out to coaches and teammates alike. Through a series of rigorous minicamps and closed-door scrimmages, Kelly gradually climbed the depth chart, demonstrating a lethal catch-and-shoot stroke from beyond the arc and a willingness to crash the boards. By the end of her third practice, an internal memo described her as the most improved player in camp, and whispers circulated that she would force a tough roster decision. Her path from undrafted outsider to main camp contender epitomizes the narrow margins that separate college stars from professional roster spots, shining a spotlight on the intricacies of WNBA talent evaluation and the sheer competitiveness that defines each training camp's final cuts.
They have 3 really great rookies. The only problem is they do not have the cap space.
The Las Vegas Aces' decision to cut Deja Kelly cannot be understood without examining the team's unique roster constraints and contractual landscape. In the 2025 offseason, the WNBA maintained a strict limit of 12 players per franchise, with each team balancing veteran contracts, rookie deals, and free agent signings under a hard salary cap. The Aces returned their full complement of core stars, frontline talents commanding multi-year, multi-million-dollar guaranteed contracts that afforded no flexibility for new additions. Among those, a restricted rookie deal for second-year guard Kristen Byrne loomed large. That agreement, signed a year earlier, guaranteed her spot for 2 additional seasons, effectively occupying a roster slot that could neither be waived nor diminished. Meanwhile, the Aces had invested significant resources in drafting and signing fellow guards Aaliyah Nye and Harmony Turner, both of whom carried cost-controlled rookie contracts, but offered proven three-point shooting and defensive versatility.
But for the Aces, it was realistically between Aaliyah Nye and Deja Kelly for that last spot. And realistically, Deja Kelly was just there for training camp. But she had an unbelievable game.
They ended up drafting Aaliyah Nye, which at the time, again, I'll mention that I was a little surprised, but she seems to know what she was doing because Aaliyah Nye in preseason looked great.
Nye is a lights-out shooter and looks to be a really smart pickup by them.
In this context, Kelly, a training camp invitee without guaranteed money, became the odd woman out once the team faced an 11-player cutoff. Financial realities dictated that the franchise could not absorb another non-guaranteed contract without sacrificing depth elsewhere. Moreover, salary cap projections indicated that any attempt to convert Kelly's camp deal into a longer-term commitment would have pushed the Aces perilously close to the luxury tax threshold, risking exponential penalties. These contractual intricacies, coupled with the league's strict timing rules by which final rosters must be submitted to the commissioner's office, meant that the Aces front office had mere hours to reconcile talent evaluations with fiscal constraints. The outcome, a razor-sharp decision that, while unpopular among fans, aligned with the franchise's broader commitment to maintaining championship-level payroll management. Social media platforms erupted within minutes of the waiver announcement, as Aces supporters and neutral observers alike flooded Twitter, Instagram, and fan forums with heated reactions. Hashtags such as hashtag Free Deja Kelly and hashtag Shame on the Aces trended nationally, with many users denouncing the move as not just misguided, but discriminatory. Numerous posts cited Kelly's on-court performance, her game-winning buzzer beater, her tenacious defensive stances, and her highlight reel drives as proof of an inexplicable front office blunder.
Now, you see the views. My goodness. This has turned the Aces fans upside down, dog. Oh my goodness. The internet is going berserk over this.
Now, Deja Kelly went undrafted in this recent WNBA draft. They picked her up, and she had a great game when the Aces played the Mercury, and she made the game-winning shot, giving Vegas the dub.
Deja Kelly looked fantastic in that last game, absolutely. And then in the first game was getting it going, got in a little late, but was getting it going, close to the end of the game. And she looked phenomenal, man. She looked phenomenal.
Some fans went further, alleging that the Aces' decision reflected systemic bias, given Kelly's status as a black guard excelling amid a roster of predominantly veteran players with established reputations. These allegations sparked broader conversations about racial equity in professional sports, prompting hashtags like hashtag #BiasInBasketball to resurface across social feeds. Local Aces season ticket holders, visibly irate, demanded refunds or discounted tickets for the upcoming season, while independent bloggers offered scathing critiques of general manager decision-making. In response, several national sports media outlets ran op-ed pieces questioning whether talent alone sufficed in a league where contract status and marketability sometimes outweigh merit. Even some former WNBA stars chimed in, suggesting that the Aces missed an opportunity to invest in developing a young talent who could become a fan favorite and long-term contributor. The digital uproar underscored the emotional investment of a passionate fan base and highlighted the evolving dynamic between franchises and their communities, where every transaction plays out under a global spotlight. Beyond the emotional fallout, basketball insiders pointed to deeper strategic considerations that may have driven the Aces' choice to waive Kelly. With the regular season looming, the coaching staff needed to craft a roster that balanced scoring threats with defensive specialists and playmaking floor generals.
But honestly, out of the two that they could pick, you had to go Aaliyah Nye. She just fitted better. She will be more useful to them because they have the guards that could dribble, facilitate, shoot. They have guards that could do that already, but they really needed the knockdown three player.
While Kelly's offensive upside was undeniable, evaluators noted areas of inconsistency, turnover rates that spiked under pressure, occasional lapses in pick-and-roll coverage, and a need to improve decision-making in half-court sets. In contrast, veteran guards like Byrne and Turner brought polished skill sets, proven track records, and a familiarity with head coaches' defensive schemes. Another factor underlined by front office sources was positional redundancy. The Aces already boasted 2 all-star point guards and a wing contingent capable of sharing ball-handling duties. Kelly's profile overlapped significantly with existing personnel, whereas the team's greatest need lay in an additional stretch big or a versatile forward who could guard multiple positions. Furthermore, advanced metrics assessments showed that Kelly's plus-minus numbers dipped against top-tier competition, raising concerns about her immediate impact in playoff scenarios. While player development remained a priority, championship-aspiring teams often weigh short-term viability more heavily than long-term upside, particularly when vying for consecutive title runs. Thus, the decision to part ways with Kelly, though seemingly counterintuitive given her preseason heroics, aligned with a risk-averse approach that prioritized roster cohesion, defensive reliability, and a precise system fit over raw athleticism and streaky shooting potential.
But man, I know they were hurting with the Deja Kelly news. I know they wanted to try everything they possibly could to keep Deja Kelly after the way she was performing.
Rumors quickly emerged linking Kelly to potential suitors across the league. Among the most pronounced whispers was interest from the Golden State Valkyries, an up-and-coming franchise seeking to bolster its backcourt depth with a high-motor guard. Sources close to the Valkyries' front office indicated that a claim on waivers was possible, given Kelly's immediate availability and the technicality that waived players pass through a 48-hour claim window before reaching unrestricted free agency. Sports agents in Los Angeles began fielding calls from G League affiliates eager to secure Kelly for their NBA-style developmental circuits, where year-round training and consistent playing time could accelerate her progression. Complicating matters, reports surfaced that the league office was evaluating a proposal to establish a formal WNBA developmental league, akin to the NBA G League, that would provide a structured pathway for players like Kelly, whose talents exceeded collegiate competition, but who required further seasoning. While league commissioner statements remained guarded, the notion of a supplementary league generated palpable excitement, with commentators suggesting it could alleviate the roster spot squeeze that forced breakout players onto the waiver wire. These conjectures cast Kelly's release in a broader light, not merely a franchise-level cut, but a potential inflection point in the WNBA's evolving commitment to talent cultivation and league-wide growth. Historical parallels underscored the roller coaster nature of Kelly's early professional journey. Just 2 years prior, guard Becca Simmons, another undrafted collegiate standout, had been waived by her initial WNBA team only to reinvent herself as a two-way contract success story, ultimately earning a full-time roster spot and an all-defensive team nod within 3 seasons.
So she should just stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Come back and get into one of these other new teams' training camp and go crazy.
For Deja Kelly, again, I'd stay ready.
Analysts drew comparisons between Simmons' tenacity and Kelly's competitive fire, noting that initial setbacks often catalyze the most dramatic career rebounds. Further back, stars such as Cynthia Cooper and Teresa Weatherspoon had faced similar crossroads in their formative years, overcoming early adversity to become league legends. These precedents offered a narrative framework that early professional rejection, rather than spelling the end of a dream, can ignite a relentless pursuit of excellence. For Kelly, the challenge now lay in harnessing this historical context to fuel off-season training, sharpen her decision-making under duress, and demonstrate that her preseason flashes were harbingers of a lasting WNBA career rather than fleeting sparks.
If you can get a spot in the league and you end up like killing it, you're going to stay in the league.
Deja Kelly went crazy. She had a great last game, fam. A great last game, especially pulling out the game winner. Was looking like the complete star.
The human element of Kelly's release cannot be overlooked. Coaches at her alma maters praised her work ethic and leadership, emphasizing that her commitment to team culture and her role as a vocal locker room presence made her a prized asset beyond pure statistics. Teammates recalled weekend film sessions where Kelly would volunteer extra hours, dissecting opponents' tendencies and crafting defensive schemes. Even opponents admired her unyielding drive, with one rival guard describing Kelly as a nightmare to defend because she never let up. These testimonials painted a portrait of a player whose intangibles, grit, resilience, and basketball IQ often manifest only over time, complicating any instantaneous evaluation.
And even though she's been waived, I think she'll be just fine, staying in shape, making sure she's ready for next year, because next year, you're going to have multiple teams added.
The opportunity she got in preseason is probably going to give her another opportunity.
Furthermore, local community leaders in Plano highlighted her off-court contributions, from youth basketball clinics to motivational talks at area schools, raising the prospect that Kelly's marketability and community engagement profile could ultimately translate into long-term value for any franchise savvy enough to invest in her development. As off-season machinery gears into full momentum, Deja Kelly's agents have outlined a multi-pronged approach: secure immediate playing opportunities, whether via G League affiliates, overseas contracts in Europe or Australia, or a successful waiver claim bid, and maintain high visibility through targeted social media campaigns. The strategy hinges on keeping Kelly's narrative front and center, leveraging her viral preseason highlights and the emotional resonance of her release to galvanize fan support. Partnering with sports media podcasts and local broadcasters, Kelly aims to share her perspective candidly, framing the waiver as a stepping stone rather than a setback. Concurrently, trainers and shoot-around coordinators have devised specialized workout regimens to address identified weaknesses, ball security drills under simulated crowd noise, decision-making exercises in congested half-court scenarios, and advanced analytics consultations to refine her shot selection profile. This comprehensive plan reflects an understanding that modern professional success requires both on-court excellence and off-court branding prowess, especially for players whose initial market positioning emerges from undrafted origins.
Like I've been saying, man, these rookies, these younger players are the key to making the game fun, all right? Making it more fun than what it is now. Making it quicker, more entertaining. You have to find a way to get these rookies on these rosters, man.
Like, Deja Kelly won them a game. She won them the game. It was against the Mercury, I think. She came down the stretch and basically just took over by herself. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Deja Kelly won the game.
Looking ahead, the broader implications of Kelly's release speak to the growing pains of an expanding WNBA. With 2 new franchises slated to join the league in 2026, roster spot scarcity will likely ease over the next 2 seasons, offering additional landing pads for players of Kelly's caliber. Moreover, discussions around a formalized developmental league suggest structural reforms that could mitigate future situations in which breakout talents find themselves without a roster. For Kelly herself, the journey has become a compelling case study in resilience. An undrafted college star who forced her way into a championship caliber camp, then confronted the unforgiving economics of professional sports. Should she seize her next opportunity, whether via another WNBA claim, a dominant overseas stint, or a leading role in a prospective developmental circuit, her story will stand as a testament to unrelenting ambition and the unpredictable alchemy of talent, timing, and organizational need. In an environment where a single transaction can redefine a career overnight, Kelly's ability to transform disappointment into momentum will determine not only her own fate, but also serve as inspiration for the next generation of players navigating the ever-evolving landscape of women's professional basketball.